Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Stealth Trader pre-market analysis and trade plan setup for Thursday, October the 23rd, 2014. My name is Doug McKay. I am the head moderator, head trader here at Stealth Trading. You can find out more about us at stealthtrader.com or send me an email at d.mckay@stealthtrader.com or send me a contact request at Doug_McKay. I'll be the one from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Love to have you with us. We're going to get going, and each morning we come together at the same time, 8:45 Eastern Time, to go through our analysis, look at the macro to the micro in terms of trend and structure, and then go through our hypotheses and our trade levels and targets for the day. Before I do that, got to do the regular legals. This information is for the purpose of educating members who want to expand the knowledge of the business of trading. It's not for trading or investment advice. You are responsible for the trades or investment decisions you make. Trading futures or any instrument involves risk of loss. Please consider carefully whether futures or options are appropriate to your financial situation. Only risk capital should be used when trading futures or options. Investors can lose more than initial investment. Nobody at Stealth Trading is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results. The trades that you see in here is for education purposes only. Please trade your own plan, your own due diligence. Okay, so let's talk about yesterday. I had a crappy day. I made money, then gave it back, made money, gave it back, and I ended up churning all day. I made a little bit of money at the end of it, but I didn't trade it very well for sure. Let's bring up the, because there's a couple things I want to show you here that is important. So yesterday we were using this 1937 as our key line in the sand, and above it we were getting long, and below it we were going to get short. And I actually took the first long here and got stopped out at 33.75 before they rotated it back up. I was mad about that. Then I took the long here, and I stayed in this long, and I added to it, and this is where we ran into trouble right here. I was playing off of the fact that we were breaking out of range and staying above the CLVN at 37 and the value area high at 37, and we were looking for the overnight stat to be taken out at 43.75, and they went in and they made this high here at 43. And that's not a big deal because you expect that they're running out of inventory. They got to find buyers with more conviction. So I was looking for that rotation back down, to test the range high from the day, and then rotate back up. This is where we came into the trouble. Is we one-ticked the high here at 43, went to 43.25, and I even mentioned it at the time. I had my mic open, and I was saying this is not good that we one-tick this high. This is what you call a failed auction. When you one-tick a high and miss a key level, we missed the overnight stat, 96% probability by 2 ticks, and we one-ticked this high, and this was a failed auction. And of course, if you would have taken the short, which I didn't take, I took it down here, but I gave all my profit back, on this rotation back down because I still thought maybe they'll rotate it back up. I didn't recognize quick enough. We even had a little head and shoulder pattern here with a measured move that would have taken us down to that, that 39 area. Anyways, bad trading on my behalf. But then we rotated all the way down and got back inside a range and came down to our first target below. They found buyers, rotated it back up to the midpoint, couldn't get back up, to the VWAP, and then came back down, blew through this, and then came down to our secondary trade area. And this took the overnight low out on this move down. So we missed the overnight high by 2 ticks, failed auction, and then came down and took out. Still fulfilled the 96% probability, just didn't think it would be to the low side. And then, once we broke below this 30.25 CLVN, we just sort of rotated lower, found some balance around here, and then into the close, failed to get back above and hold above that CLVN at 30.25 and rotated all the way back down. I thought we'd actually get to the 19, to the value area low from the prior day. We never did. They stepped in here and rotated it back into the close. Overnight, we did go down again to the 22.25. I got long at 22.50, and I was holding it. I was going to hold it overnight. I said, you know what? I talked to FT, and he said, you know what? The day trend was down. You're better to take your profit and go to the sidelines. I did, and then what did they do? They rotated it right to 22.25, and then ripped it up from there. And here we are trading up at 1940.50. So let's step back, take a look at our homework, and go through our normal routine after taking a review of yesterday. Of course, we had unemployment claims. I don't know what they were, but they obviously weren't bad because we're rotating higher. We've got HPMI at 8 Central, 9 Eastern. We've got 8:45 Central, 9:45 Eastern, flash manufacturing PMI. Then we've got CB leading index at 9 Central, 10 Eastern, and natural gas at 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern. So we've got a fair amount of news still to come, but nothing major. Howard, I see you're in the room. I'm having trouble with the sheet. I keep getting this this message, but we can talk about that later. Let's go take a look at the key numbers. The important one, of course, is we're below the month open still at 1961. That would be a target that I'd be looking for to the high side today. Nothing really on the macro. We had a neutral day yesterday. We broke the IV high and the IV low. For a neutral day. Got to be careful when you see a neutral day, because sometimes neutral has a tendency to be followed by another neutral day, so be careful. Big OS again, you can see that these, initial balance, these initial balances are still staying large. 1941.25 high, 1933.25 low. All our numbers except for our close were higher for the intraday yesterday. Our 20-day ATR targets still remain, 30 on the RTH, 35 on the full session, 18 very large extended volatility and range. Our value area high and low were higher at 37 and 2050, and we broke the IB to the top side at 10:30 Central, 11:13 Eastern, and of course we had slightly higher than normal volume. But the volume's starting to come down. You can see we had these really high volume days and these big range days as the OTF, take their positions. Our weekly range right now is running at 40.03 for the 20-day. I mean, that's basically your average daily range, full session, 5 points more than it, and that's just weird. Anyway, let's go to the macro to the micro and take a look at the trends in the different time frames. You can see that the monthly, we did not violate the trend. We came down and tested the 20 SMA on the monthly, and then we popped up and we're now trading above the 9 EMA and trying to get inside of last month's range. And there's a couple things I want to talk about that when we get to the geometric chart. But the trend itself on the monthly is still intact. On the weekly, we closed the weekly tech gap and we're struggling to get above the 9 EMA. We still do have this naked cross on the weekly at 1957.50 is what I've got written down. Keep an eye on that today. If we can break above this 1942 level, we could get a pop up into this 57, 50, 58 area. But the trend is still to the downside. It's not real solid yet, but you got to be careful that we could fail from here and rotate back down, and that would be nothing to go back down into that 1850 area again. On the daily, we did have a downtrend on the daily. We've taken it back and we violated the trend on the daily. We're currently holding above the 9 and the 20, and we're trying to make new swing highs, new fractal highs on the daily. Keep an eye on this level right here. It's 1921 and a quarter is what I'm looking at. That's the CLVN, and we'll take a look at it on the composite chart. Going over to the geometric chart, yesterday we said if we could break out of the upper line of the intermediate downward sloping fork, that we'd likely go up and test the middle fork. We went and tested it to the tick and then rejected it and came all the way down and tested the upper line of the intermediate downward sloping fork. Overnight, we rejected the upper line of the intermediate downward sloping fork and come up, and we're testing the upper line, the center line of the longer term downward sloping fork. If we break above this line, then I anticipate that there'll be a continuation of this rally, and the first target that I'd be really looking at testing today is this 1949-1950 area. And then if we can get above that, then look for them to come up and test the upper line of the downward sloping, longer term downward sloping fork at about 1970. I don't anticipate that's going to be the move today. I think we're going to get a rotational day, and I think we could come up and test this 50 level if we can break above yesterday's range. So let's go and take a look at the intraday and see if we've got any trends on the intraday. We are currently maintaining that 4-hour trend. We closed this technical gap, broke below the 9 EMA, and then we popped up and we've continued the trend. So the trend continues on the 4-hour, on the 30-minute. Again, the trend is still intact. Got a little bit of a technical gap with a possible Mr. Sneaky tech gap here. This is not a foo-bar, not enough volume on this 30-minute, but you've got a doji Mr. Sneaky tech gap going on here. So we, one of the reasons why I think we're going to get another rotation, probably down into that 1936, 1937 level. I think 34.50 is one of the levels that I've got on my notes. Going down to the 5-minute. 5-minute, you can see, beautiful tech gap close here with this rotation down to 37, and then we've continued the trend. So we've got some upward trends in the intraday, and see if we can maintain them. First level to be concerned with is going to be this 1939. It's really 1937 again. So let's take a look at the composite and take a look at this on the bigger picture. Of course, we came down inside of this longer term value area on the microcomposite from this whole area over here, and tested both sides of the value and then accepted price here at the 1850. Remember, 1850 not only is a microcomposite VPOC, it is our composite VPOC going back to October the 9th, 2013. Then we gapped up, accepted value here around the 82 level, gapped up again, and now we've come up and we've accepted value here around 26, and now they're trying to make another move up. Currently, right now, we've got the microcomposite VPOC that we're trading around from this balance that we fell out of last week, right in around this 1940, 1939. This is a number I talked about yesterday, and if we can accept this, the other side of that balance that I'll be looking at is this 1949. That's that 1949, 1950 level that we're looking at on the geometric chart. If we can get above that, then I'd be looking for a move up into this 57, 58. See how these levels all come together? But right now, the immediate resistance is going to be the range high at 43.25 and this 43 CLVN. Above that, target 44.75, and then look for the continuation up into that 49. The line in the sand is going to be, it's shifted slightly, 36.25. If we get below 36.25, then I'd be looking to come down and test this 1930 level, if not all the way back down to this 1926, the microcomposite VPOC that we accepted balance around after this gap up. Let's take a look at what it looks like on the Globex and start moving our numbers over. All right, so we have a Globex low down at that 1922.50 or quarter. Thank you, Murad, for not making me wait and get stopped out down there. And our overnight high right now is 41.50. We could see a newer high put in. We still have time to put a new overnight high in, and you can see that the VPOC has shifted overnight up to this 1940. So they are accepting value. Overnight inventory is net long. Come on. Doesn't draw for me. There we go. All right, and then we got a couple LVNs to pay attention here. There's that 37 again. I'm going to use the 36. Off the opening swing from yesterday. And I'm going to use 37 again, gang. But I'm going to use 37 down to 36. I don't want to get short until I get below 36, and I don't want to get long until we hold above 37. Currently, right now, the target above this level of 37 is going to be the 1940. We got the open from yesterday at 38.25 to look at. I'm expecting this to be quite choppy here. There's really not a lot you can do right here until we break out. You could take the overnight high, but you're likely to find responsive sellers right at this 42, and you could try to take the 38 from yesterday, but I think those are dangerous trades. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the breakout of the 43. Let me get rid of this because I want to see that it's 43 and 43.25. So I'm going to use 43.25 as my trade area for above. There's really not anything that I could recommend in this area right here. It's likely to get choppy. If we get below 36, then that's a different story, because if we get below 36, I'd be targeting this LVN right here at 34.25. And if we break below it, I'm going to use it as a target and a trade area, because I'll use it as an add-on. If we break below it, then I'm looking for a move back to the midpoint here at this 1931.75. And I'm targeting this area at 31.75, but then I'm watching this 30.25 just below it as an area that I look to do business at if we break below it. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to use the LVN here. I'm going to target it here, but I'm expecting if they come down to the midpoint, they're going to test the lower side of this balance down here at 30. And if we get any, capitulation right now of the buyers, then this break of 30.25 is going to be a really nice move down to this 28 and the gap close here at 25.75. So I'm going to target just in front of this 28 and this 25.75 as 2 targets below that 1930 because I've got this 1926 area, this microcomposite VPOC in between them. So I'm going to scale before the VPOC, but I'm going to hold and wait for this 26 level because I think if they come down to the 26, they'll close the gap as well. And then there's really nothing below us until we get all the way down to this 1921, 1920 area. You've got the overnight low as a target. If we don't take out the overnight low and we get below this 1930, I'm staying short to get a 80% play through the 96% probability of taking out the overnight low and a destination trade down to this 1920-50 value area low from yesterday. And then once below range and outside of range and outside of value, then there's really nothing below us until we get down to that 1918. And that's going to be my first target, below range and below value. Come on. There we go. And really nothing to hold us up there until we get down to 16. That'll be a trade area, and below 16 I'm targeting this 1275 again. There's that 1275 again. And the other side of that balance is going to be the big number, and the key line in the sand for us to continue this rally up without having to come back down into this 82 area is the 1909.25. And how great was that 1909.25 the other day? Actually, that's going to be trade area as well. And below 1909, we've got that 0650 again, and really nothing till we get down to, you've got a naked close here at 1900.25, but I'm really going to use the 98.75. And I already got that down there. I've got my lower targets down there. First target below is 96.75. I don't think we're going to get down there today. And then to the upside, if we break above this 44 area, my target is that 49 area. There's 44.75 would be my first scale, my first target above range and above value. There's no real resistance above us until we get to 49. So just stay long and strong. And above 49, you've got the 51 and the 57.50 that we talked about. And I don't think we're going to get much higher than that today if we do get a breakout. So that's what I'm looking at. Let's take a quick look at the Renko with Keltner. Right now, we are below the center line, Keltner center line at 38.50. Center line is 39. So if we get above this 39 and move up to the upper Keltner line, takes us to that target at 44.50. It'll likely be the 44.75 by the time we get there. Below the Keltner center line and move down to the lower Keltner line, it'll take us down to the 33 area. I'm really looking at 34.50. It'll likely be 34.50 by the time we get there, or down at 31.75, depending on how long it takes us to get there. What do we got for time? We got time. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the Russell. I already put the Russell I already put the Russell hypothesis in, and I put it in a new sheet that we're working on. I'd love to get some feedback on it. And Howard, I'll send you the updated TF sheet when we're done here. So we're currently trading right around here at 1103.60 area. This is inside. We had a triple distribution day on the Russell. The key number for me is going to be this 1105.80 LVN and the 1096 LVN here. I'm expecting chop inside of this area right here with rotation down to test this value area low here at 1106, 1160. So I'm going to put that as a trade area. Below that, you've got the HVN just below it, but remember that our open of the year is 1095. I'm sorry, not open of the year. Open of the month on the Russell is 1095. So if they get below the 1100 again, I'm expecting the sellers to get aggressive and to come down and test this LVN and the open of the year, open of the month down at this 1095 area. Below there, I'm looking for a move down. Of course, 1095 is going to be my first target, but secondary target below. Well, let me put the 1095 in here so we know that. Come on. And we're nowhere near critical mass yet in terms of the on the month, but it's something that we're going to start watching for as we move towards the end of the month. Critical mass is basically a study on the average true range, daily true range, and once you get to a point where the number of days and the number of average true ranges put together gets beyond where the month opened, one side will usually get capitulation and you'll get a continuation, but we're nowhere close to getting there. Below the month open, I'd be looking for a move down to test this 1092.40. Our low for the Globex is 1092.20, so you got 1092.40, 1092.20, and 1092.30. Three major targets down here, all at the range low from yesterday. And then below the 1092 area, we are in this blunt area. Now, this is something you want to pay attention to on the Russell, and I made a point of it in the hypothesis, where below this 1094 and above this 1077 and a quarter, we have this big square block of undetermined fair value, and you can see how quickly we've moved through this area. We have got a lot of undetermined fair value. So if we get below the range from the prior day, then we're into this ugliness down here. The main target, there's two main targets within this area. There's the 2-day microcomposite VPOC at 1086.60, which you've got a naked VPOC down here as well. But there's really nothing in between. So the target, is all the way down here, and I would expect a pretty fast move down. Come on. Down to this 8660, 8650 area. And then again, you've got nothing here. I'm expecting a lot of rotation around this, but the target below is going to be this 1081.20, and there's really not much I can give you more than that to guide you, because there's no definition, there's no edge right here. So just be careful in this area. Try to play the shorter term price rejection and acceptance, because you got nothing to go by. I mean, you've got, you could use this value area high is at 90.50. Might as well put it in there. But I expect that, once we're inside that value and inside that blunt area, it's going to be rather choppy. All right. So if we get above the 1105.75, then we've got some really nice targets above us. We've got the other side of balance around this 1111.70 down here at 1106.50. That's going to be my first target, and I'll be looking for responsive sellers to step in there. Come on. 1106.50, right? And that's going to be a pretty tight, just get in, get scaled, because we could get some responsiveness. But above there, you've got this 1107.80 two-day microcomposite and the 1108.25, and that's going to be key. And I'm going to use it as a target and as a breakout trade, because once we're above this 1108.25, I think the 1111.70 comes into play again. You've got our open from yesterday. You've got the composite VPOC going all the way back to, what is it, the November the 12th, November the 16th, 2012. And you've got yesterday's VPOC. You've got all this in between, you know, 1100 and 1111 and 1112. So I'm going to target this 1111.70. And of course, you've got all this. And then if we come up here and we accept this price, the value area high for the two-day is up here at this 1113.40. And then if we break, you know, if we get up here, I think we'll come up and, you know, and test the value area high and the range high from yesterday, and that will put us into a breakout. And then above this 14, we really don't have anything until we get up. You've got 1530 as the value area high, so I'll put that as your first target above range and value. It's pretty tight, but again, a few shekels to get funded, and but at that point in time, I'd hang on because we really don't have a lot to hold us down until we get up to this 1121. $1121.70. And then above that, you got naked close at 1123.50, or sorry, 1123.90 with the CHVN at 1123.50. So I'll target 1123.50, but they're likely to take out the naked close at that point in time. And the next responsive area I'd be looking at is the range high at 1126.20. And then above that, you know, we got nothing. We got nothing until we get all the way up here to this 1134. We got 3180. And then above that, you've got the 3420. And then, of course, the naked VPOC at 1138.90, 1139.70, and the big number up here, our microcomposite, naked microcomposite VPOC at 1140. But I'll put that in there as well, but I'll be really front-running that at the 1138.90. Okay, and I don't think we're going to get much more than that. I'm expecting a rotational day, probably even an inside day today inside of the range from yesterday on the Russell. Let's 22, quick look at gold, and then we'll wrap up here. Gold broke below that 1241 overnight, and coming down, came back into that 1239.20, testing the 3260 value area, microcomposite value area low. Let's bring that day in. It doesn't really change anything. Everything's the same. Again, I don't like gold in this balance area. I'm expecting, you know, I said that they likely play ping pong between the 45 and the 39 area, and that's basically what they did yesterday and so far overnight. Really don't like the short side until we get down to the 1227.60 for a move down into the the 18 level again, and I don't like until we get above the 1252 for a move to test the range high and the 1258 area. Above there, you got a nice target up here. I'm still expecting us to come up at some point in time and test a composite VPOC going back to 2008. Anyway, that's gonna, again, I'm not recommending trading gold right now. It's just it's unstable and no real edge right here. The only thing you could do is play that 41, and I looked at doing it last night, and I chickened out. I said, no, I said I wasn't going to trade this area, and I'm not going to trade this area. So that's it. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we will catch you on the flip side.